Gila no lo sé. Gila no lo sé. Gila no lo sé. Shilana. Buenos días, mi gente. Gracias por tuning in. Estoy muy contenta porque hoy va a compartir mi espacio con Claudia Romo Edelman y ella nos va a llenar de su gracia con todo lo que ella tiene que hablar de lo que es ser humano. We're all human. So, ayúdenme a recibir a Claudia a mi espacio.
Hola.
Buenos días, Claudia. Saludo de verte.
Gracias. Muchas gracias por la invitación. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you for joining me and sharing with our outing everything that you have to say about we are human. I have to check Facebook to make sure that we're because something about StreamYard, it doesn't really immediately take you as being public. I'm not sure why, because it's supposed to. You have to change the outing. ¿Ves? Mira, enseña que está privado. StreamYard, if you're listening to me, we need to fix that glitch. Here we go. Yeah, we're public. Gracias, Claudia, por venir. Estaba tan contenta. I was so excited about you coming because you have so much knowledge, so much experience, such a young soul, and she's on a mission. Claudia, her purpose in life is that she wants to unite humanity, starting with the Latinos, the Hispanics, and she's going to share everything that she does and where she got her idea of creating this foundation of We're All Human. So without further ado, I'm going to leave Claudia to take it away. And please, let's listen to Claudia and her wonderful, extraordinary life as a pioneer and advocating for the Latino and Hispanic star.
Gracias. Thank you so much, Yvonne, and thank you for the decades of work in advancing the Hispanic community, the Latino community, the Latinx community, whatever everybody feels comfortable with. Thank you so much for making us so big. Leaders like you that have devoted so many years to make sure that we are not invisible, that we're valued, that we're ready. And yes. Here we are, and the time is Hispanic, and this is the time to act and support and elevate the Hispanic community, and that's what we've been doing. I am the founder of the World Human Foundation, a foundation devoted to advancing diversity and inclusion as a ways to achieving equity. We believe that the world is already pretty diverse. Just look around. Look around. Everybody else is so different. What we need to do is make the world more inclusive so that every one of us can bring the best selves that we have to everything we do. The World Human Foundation is really laser focused right now in two things regarding the Latino community. The number one thing, as you said, Yvonne, is to unify the Latino community. And the number two is to change our perception. The fragmentation that we have is real. It hurts. Mexicans don't talk to Colombians, don't talk to Venezuelans. And actually, it's even worse than that. It's not that we don't talk to each other, it's that we don't have a shared dream. We put the elbows to each other and we don't act as one. We're not suggesting that we should all of a sudden forget and just treat Latinos as if we would be one thing of the same thing. No. We have to respect our individuality. We have to understand that we're not a monolithic group. We should explore our identities, but we should be pushing a shared agenda. The way that, for example, the Chinese and the Japanese, they have really historical differences, and nevertheless, they become the Asia society when it comes to asking for scholarships or asking for entry points in universities. What is the agenda of Latinos? What do we want to achieve, all of us together? That's an important point, and that's what we're going to be discussing at the Hispanic Leadership Summit, how to take action. How do we bring everyone to take action, whether you're a corporation, whether you're the new administration, whether you're a media corporation. And that really towards one goal that for us is important, being such a marketing-driven organization, having had 25 years of experience of seeing how communities come out of nothing and thrive and flourish with 1/10 of what Latinos have. It's important for me to make sure that we have one common dream among us that we can activate in the next couple of years. And this dream is to be seen, heard, and valued, to change the perception of Latinos, to own our story, to move from invisible to visible, from negative to positive, and from takers to makers. That's enough. No more Latinos that are invisible. No more Latinos that are not paid. No more Latinos that are treated like trash. This is the time for us to elevate all of us so that we come, and when we come to a place, we're fully seen, fully respected, and fully paid. Particularly for Latinas, we can be the last generation that is going through that. We can be looking and opening the door for next generations to really have the opportunities that you, Yvonne, started working on for decades.
Thank you, Claudia. That was great. I remember listening to one of your little clip videos that you were talking about actually the, the numbers. Like we are 60 million, 12% or 60. I don't even want to bash the numbers because you're better than I am a statistic, but we're talking trillions. The progress that we have economically, and we're going to have Claudia explain that to us, why that is so important in the Latino community, because we're actually the backbone of this country
Mhm.
in the gross product of the nation.
We're driving growth. We're the new mainstream economy for sure. So we are not only the demographic group, the biggest group in America, growing demographic. We're 60 million today, 18% of the population. But in a couple of years, by 2050, we will be 25% of the population. That means one in every four will be Hispanic. So hello, 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 hola, hello, 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 hola. I mean, like we're gonna grow, and that will continue expanding. And that is for a number of reasons. One is because we're very generous with our love. We're the most common interracial marriage, and 60 out of the next 100 million people will be Hispanic. So we're a massive group. We were 32 million eligible voters for this election. The next election, we will jump to 52 million because so many of our young people are going to turn 18. So if you thought we were many now, wait until the next election to really feel what voto Latino means. We're
Exactly.
also the economic power because we're $2.6 trillion of the GDP. That means 12% of the GDP. And that, just to put into perspective, means that if we would put the Hispanic economy as a standalone economy, we would be the eighth largest country in the
Wow.
world, larger than Brazil, larger than
You
Canada,
guys
larger than
listen?
Italy. 12% of the GDP, Yvonne, means that you can go out in the street and look at anyone in the eye and say, "You're welcome. You're welcome for the 12% of your salary. No problem. It's okay. It's
I
okay."
love it.
You
I
can
love
look at everyone in the eye whenever they look at you as a Latino, thinking, "You're welcome. No
it.
problem because I'm paying the taxes." We pay more than $215 billion a year in taxes. We pay more than $100 billion in Social Security. So when you have myths and stereotypes and bad ideas that we don't pay taxes, remember $100 billion in Social Security per year. In an aging America, the Latinos are caring for the elders, are caring for growth. And we're so young. We're
Yes.
so young. We're ridiculously young. We're 28 years old average, so a decade younger than the rest. But if I tell you one thing that I want everybody, it's so surprising for me to hear how we don't know how young we are. The mode, meaning the most common age of 60 million people today, is 11. 11 years old. That's the most common age of 60 million people. You know what is the most common age of non-Hispanics? 58. That's
Yeah.
4 decades of growth. So whenever you remember people saying 20 years ago, 10 years ago, "Oh, let's go to China because we represent a decade of growth." Well, guess what? In your own backyard, we Latinos, we represent 4 decades of growth, but we will not just follow through the trap of companies and people going after our wallets and going after our youth. We need to make sure that people go after our future and invest on us, invest in our education, invest in our communities, so that those young people are well educated, can finish high school, can actually have internships and apprenticeships and mentorships so that we can get jobs. We have to go with a powerful position. We mean business, we mean growth. And so every time you go out in the street, when you're looking for a job, when you come from a position of power, there's no company that can sell without the Latino consumer. There's no company that can hire with a Latino employee. There's
Mhm.
no political leader that can win with a Latino without the Latino vote. So go and be confident and
Yes.
drink the Kool-Aid. We are powerful. Yeah,
Extremely
I
powerful.
know that it feels funny, but we are powerful. We're beautiful.
No, I'm
So
laughing
we
because I
start
actually
enriching
use that same
ourselves to
expression.
feel like as a Hispanic star. That's who we are. We don't have to ask permission from anyone to be in the sky that makes this country beautiful. America is made of stars, and we Hispanics were one of them.
Love
And if you have any doubt, go back to the numbers and remember, you're welcome, America.
Exactly. Claudia, en tu experiencia, ¿qué tú dirías que cuál es uno de los greatest barriers that is not allowing the Hispanics in a way or the Latinos to be as close to the fellow non-Latino, especially the majority as seen by the supposedly white minority? Because it's so difficult for me to say that because in the Latinos community, I'm sorry, America. I don't mean to disappoint you. Yeah, there's white people in the Latino community too. We're a mix. We are the mix of the between the white and the blacks, and we're right in the middle. And we really have the colors between those color spectrum. Pero lo que más me preocupa es curiosidad. Why you think at your level where you're operating that you have such connections that you're around of the powers that may be these big corporations and you're that driving force trying to bring that cultural intelligence, making them aware, hey, hello, we're your trillion people. You gotta come meet us in the middle, try to understand because we could be even more bigger than we are in terms of you become culture intelligent, you understand how this community works and process life as it's happening. You can
So
even get
you're
better.
asking about
What is the barrier that you have found?
Right, you were asking about barriers. So there are internal barriers and external barriers. And you were talking about before, and I didn't address that point of the trillions. So you're a company, we represent the size of our wallet is the fastest growing wallet, so $1.7 trillion. And that means that a lot of the growth from companies come from the Latino community, not only because we're young, but because we're many and we like spending, we buy things, we commute, and so on. So if you're PepsiCo, your growth in America is 60% depends on the Latino community. Fortune 500 companies, it depends, but in average is 11 to 25% of their growth. 11 to 25% of the growth of Fortune 500 companies means we have the wallet that everybody wants to get. But and we have the economy and we over index. So we're consumers, we're loyals, we're great employees. But we do have issues and we have barriers. And precisely because we need to unify and understand how big are our barriers compared to others and how do we connect them and how do we make sure that we're singing from the same song sheet and have the way that the Asian society decided to go for scholarships is because they knew that strategically they needed to position their young people into education so that they can actually perform and go bigger. What are the things that we need? What are the positions that we need to do? What are the barriers that we need to break? We will be presenting at the Hispanic Leadership Summit December 7, 8, and 9 the comprehensive list of all the goals of the Hispanic Leadership Summit compared to the Sustainable Development Goals of the United Nations and see where we are. I know for a fact that we've been talking about education, financial empowerment, health, nutrition, well being, mental health very strongly, decent work. Decent work, which is equal pay. That means safety for our employees. That means opportunities for our entrepreneurs to grow. But we have to, from all the things that we could be doing, what are the one or two things that could be strategic to generate dramatic increase and change in our community that we can generate. So we are engaging in we're engaged in a research process, not only to understand where we are today, but also thanks to an opportunity that we have with Procter and Gamble and CVS, we're looking at big data to understand also where the passion of Hispanics meets the priority for Hispanics, because those are the areas where we have to address and we have to put down together. I am pretty sure that all of us understand, like at different areas, and we all work in different things. But it's very, very important to know that you can achieve a lot when you focus on certain things that will mean and generate change for good.
Thank you, Claudia. I feel that because you're spearheading this mission, we're just lining up right behind you, just pushing you as fast as you can, because you are right at the place where you need to be, and we support you. It is time that we here in America, we come together. After all, we're more alike than we're not. And
And we have to come together in a different way, Yvonne,
yes,
because you mentioned that before. Change is not fast enough. And we have to be sin pena. We have to be sin pena to advocate for our community. We have to be sin pena to start looking at and saying, this company is not doing great for our community. This company is doing great. So make your purchasing choice. Why would you not start actually being able to spell it out and say, you know what, it's not only the business opportunity that you have to do. This is not only how, inclusion is going to be a mandate, but also by not acting and not supporting Hispanics, you're choosing to leave us without information,
absolutamente.
without your product. So we have to make choices and choose not to work for those companies, not to buy from those companies. We have to be
Thank you.
stronger in our sense that we have the power. So why not speak it out and why not step it up? We're so con pena because we feel calladito te ves más bonito. It's already great that you have a job. No, 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 mommy. We have to step up and say, like, let's raise the tone. Let's all of us be more about, like, no, that's not okay. You have to do more. You have to protect us more. You have to pay us more. You have to address us more. COVID-19 will have an incredible impact again in our community. And I don't want to go through again another cycle where companies are not giving us, or well, not companies, where we're not informed enough. The pharma industry, the media industry, the government has to really procure
Government.
information for our community in our language on whatever we receive, so that we have information and protect ourselves. Vaccines are going to come. And I need all of us to understand that we have to raise our hands and say, Latinos have to be first online, have to be at least in the middle of the line.
Yes.
Never again we have to be at the last place of a line. Never. We did this enough. It's time to actually raise the hand and say, it's my turn.
Yeah, it's funny that you just kind of mentioned that. Mi gente están escuchando lo que está diciendo Claudia. Lo importante es que ustedes se sientan orgullosos de su herencia de ser latino, aboguen por sus derechos, no tengan miedo de hablar, siempre que lo hacen de una forma tranquilo, sin coraje, pero inteligente. Acérquese a sus representantes, explíquenle sus preocupaciones, por qué no están viendo algo que tal vez su comunidad necesita. No tengan miedo, no hay que ir a pelear. Así hablando, muy tranquilo, no llega hasta el fin del mundo. Pero Claudia compartió algo muy interesante con nosotros, que nosotros los latinos tenemos tanta compasión en nuestro corazón, somos tan empáticos, que a veces eso nos pone en una posición de ser too complacent. Y nosotros podemos tener esa empatía y podemos tener esa compasión, pero a la misma vez podemos ser proactivos en abogar por nuestras necesidades. Y que hay que hacerlo, reaching out to your elected representative, see how they're representing you in the decision making as a community of interest. Si estás trabajando por una corporación y tú ves que tal vez que los procesos de human resources are not in favor of making you thrive on that organization, well, how do you reach to your management to say, perhaps we need to look at the policies because not everyone is thriving equally? So esas son las cosas que como latinos tenemos que hacer. Lo que explicó Claudia, I'm just saying a little bit more simply at an actually level like I used to do. Everybody can do this. You just lift your voice in a very kind manner, sin coraje, sin frustraciones, and you go say, this is not working for me. And we can figure out how to make this better.
And realize we're not alone. I mean, like, when we act together, when we unify, you feel the power. You know, like when you, cuando una hormiga llama a otra hormiga y otra hormiga llama a otra hormiga, es un centro de solidaridad, energía y coraje para seguir en esta lucha que es nuestra comunidad.
Exacto.
Entonces, yo te quiero agradecer, Ivonne, muchas gracias. Quiero agradecer a Jackie Camacho Ruiz, quien está en esta llamada,
Mira,
Ella es la verdad, una de las personas que que a mí personalmente es mi Hispanic Star, our role model. Esas es nuestras
For so
historias, es
many.
alguien como Jackie que nos ayudó a poner este libro de
Exacto.
Hispanic Star Rising, The New Face of Power, de la Hispanic Star, para contar la historia de 90 grandes, fabulosas personas como Ivonne, para que la gente nos conozca, para que nosotros nos conozcamos, para que nuestros hijos tengan héroes, modelos que seguir, inspiración. Somos inspiradores, somos poderosos, estamos trabajando en la economía, en pilotos de avión como Jackie, en todo lo que estamos haciendo y necesitamos darnos a conocer. Entonces, gracias Jackie por la oportunidad de darnos esa plataforma y gracias a todos por a partir de ahora tomar un compromiso de empujar a la comunidad para ser vista, valorada o escuchada. Este es el tiempo de la comunidad hispana y vamos a celebrarnos todos como lo que somos, contribuidores positivos, stars, Hispanic stars. Here we go. Gracias.
Gracias, Claudia. Espero que sigas para adelante. Tienes a toda esta comunidad empujándote. Sabe que a todos nosotros, gracias a Jackie porque ya hizo esta conexión. Si no hubiera sido por ella, no te hubiera conocido a ti. Así que ya sabes que nos tienes a todos detrás empujando y a donde usted quiera que nos necesite, decimos presente porque es por el bienestar de
Yo
nuestra
sé dónde los
comunidad.
necesito. Los necesito tomando el espejo, drinking the Kool-Aid of power,
That's
and
right.
signing up to be a Hispanic star.
Bravo.
Ambassador, sign up, be a Hispanic star.
Yes.
Thank you. Muchas gracias, Ivonne. Hasta
Gracias a
luego.
ti. Chao, chao.
Bye. Chao.
Bye, bye. Que tenga buen día. Bueno, mi gente, ya escucharon a Claudia Romo Edelman. Espero que esta charla le haya inspirado a querer envolverse en sus comunidades cívicamente, aprender cómo funciona su comunidad. Vayan y conozcan a su representante gubernamental, al persona, al político que usted escogió a que lo represente en sus municipalidades. Es importante conocerlo y saber cuál es la plataforma que ese político está utilizando pues, para ayudarlo a ustedes a que viven en una comunidad donde tiene acceso a oportunidades, a todos los servicios que necesitan y de la forma única que usted puede estar seguro que su comunidad va a tener un bienestar de salud, de positivismo, es siendo usted. Usted es el cambio que su comunidad necesita. Y having said that, le agradezco mucho. Thank you all for tuning in. Hopefully we'll be seeing you next week again. Have a great day. And God bless you all. Ciao, ciao. And be well, no matter where you are. Bye-bye.